Well, howdy there, y'all. Yamasaki here. Welcome back to the channel. And today is going to be about some planes. So stay tuned. So as you guys know, if you're already into this hobby, you guys should know that this hobby is addicting. And you can't have but just one plane. You have to have many planes and many RC helicopters and pretty much many of everything. It's just the way the hobby is. It's an addiction. So about 4 days ago, well, before that, I actually had been looking on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist every once in a while to see if I could find any RC airplanes for a reasonable price. I finally did. This guy was moving, and he had a little bit under 100 airplanes. So me and my buddy Jake, we went down, and I had a certain amount of cash with me, and I was hoping to take home at least 2 planes. That's not how it ended. It ended up with me taking 5 planes home. And I gave one to my buddy Jake because I want him to be in the hobby. But I got 5 planes for under $300. That's a screaming deal. Now, they do need some work. They are pretty old. They're not new. I mean, there are planes that are maybe, 2 of the planes are maybe 10 years old, a little bit older. But that's the newest there is within the bunch that I got. And so some of them do require a little bit of work. They will be future projects, but other than that, I think I got a screaming deal. And that's what this video is about today, guys. It's about the planes that I brought home for a very, very cheap price. So let's go see what I brought home. Alrighty, so we're about to go in my attic. This is where most of my RC vehicles and RC airplanes and helicopters reside. You can pretty much call it my RC hangar, if you will. I do have some planes down here, just 4 of them. And then I have my 2 trucks and my boat here. And then behind them is pretty much just a wall of boxes and stuff about RC. I got a picture of the Slowpoke right there, framed and everything. But every single one of these planes and every single one of these planes and RC vehicles up there will get their own 3-part video series. So yeah, without further ado, let's go up and see what I got. Now some of these planes you may have seen when I had the Yamasaki show going, but you guys have already seen the Pete and Poke. You guys have already seen that homemade cardboard airplane down there, the Pog, otherwise known as the piece of garbage. And then you guys have probably seen the Slowpoke Sport 40, the JR Flyer on the Yamasaki show. But other than that, the rest of these planes that are up here are yet to be reviewed. But that's not what this video is about. This is about the planes that I got this weekend. So we're going to start with that one, the one in the middle there. Now that plane in particular is pretty much the reason why I went and got all these planes. My dad has gotten me very good Christmas presents over the years, and I wanted to do him a favor and get him a nice Christmas present. He's not much into the hobby anymore, although he used to be when I was really little, but this plane in particular is a Piper J3 Cub, or at least it's somewhat and very similarly modeled after the Piper J3 Cub. I got this one for, this was probably the most expensive airplane that I got, but it was still very cheap. It's actually the most complete one there is out of the ones I got. It looks like it's got a little bit of damage on the plexiglass here on the windshield, but that shouldn't be too hard. Could probably glue it back or just tape it like they did. Looks like there's only just one crack right there. It's got some sort of, it looks like an OS Max 4-stroke engine on it. The wing is back there behind that wing right there. But like I said, this one's probably the most complete one because it's got all of the servos in there. It's got a fuel tank. I still don't know where the receiver would be put in this thing, but it looks like it's an old model because my dad actually has some really old RC equipment that I put on a piece of board to show as a display, and it kind of has this same setup. All these servos are on this plastic platform, which is then screwed into the airframe. And I can't remember what my dad called it, but that used to be the standard, I guess, for airplanes 20 to 40 years ago, is all the servos would be mounted on a platform, and then that platform would just be somehow mounted within the airframe, and it just made, I guess it just made everything easier somehow. But I think this one is a Carl Goldberg model. I'm not exactly sure, and I actually would like to know if you guys have any information on these airplanes. So if you do, please feel free to comment down below and let me know what you guys know. But it seems to be in really good shape. It looks like it's all complete. No damage except for right there. So yeah, that's the first plane. The second plane I picked out was this really old one. Whoops, almost screwed that wing up. I'll get to that wing and that airplane in a minute because it is really fragile. But anyway, this little plane right here caught my eye. Now, this one's going to be more of a project because it has no servos, and the the elevator control surfaces, let me see if I can get over there a little bit better. They are not connected. This one is free. That's because it has a little plastic piece, I don't know if you can see that, right there, that goes on the underside of the rudder here and connects the two surfaces together. Well, that screw has seemed to have come out and stripped out the wood, so I think I'm going to have to screw it back in there or glue it or somehow. But it does look like this one is okay. It looks like all the control surfaces are okay, but this one is extremely old. The wood looks like it's really old. The only information I have on it is the number 440 right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. It says 440 right there. It's a high wing trainer, it looks like. It has an old Fox engine on it and a wood prop, which I love wood props. That's a bonus. This was the next most expensive airplane, and I picked this one out for myself. The wing is actually over there. It says 440 there as well. I don't know if you guys can see that. See if it'll zoom in here. Won't zoom in or focus, but it says 440 over there. But it looks like it's a really old airplane from the looks of it. So that one will be probably the biggest project I have out of these planes. Now, the other two I got were those over there. That one right there, let's see if I can get over there without falling. This one is a Bixler II. Now I think, whoa, I almost fell down. Anyways, I think this one is a Bixler II. And that one is a Bixler III. That one I gave to my buddy Jake. This one was the first one I started working on. In fact, it was all complete. This is the most complete one there is, aside from that Piper J3 over there. I did some work on it. I put a receiver in it. I tested it with a 2200 LiPo battery. The first modification I did was this bay here for putting the battery in is so small, it's just so cramped. So I cut this piece of foam off and modify it so it'll be another hatch. And as you guys can see, I put some Velcro in there for the battery. I put a receiver in there. I put the ESC on the side there, and just tried to make as much room as possible. And I did a little bit of customization with that, and I painted the seat black. It is missing the canopy though, but everything does work. I tested this thing out. I tried to fly it, but it keeps nosediving to the ground. I think that's a common problem for these Bixlers, because the motor is pointing upward a little bit, which is wanting to push the airplane down. So you've got to give it as little throttle as possible, and yet throw it really hard, and then give it full elevator and then throttle in order to get it up in the air. People say it glides really nice, but I have yet to have perfected this airplane yet. I also had to put tape alongside the servo rod tubes because they kept falling out of place and they weren't working, so I have to put tape on that one, and I have yet to put tape on the one on this side, which goes to the rudder. Or no, this is the side with the rudder. I still have yet to put tape on that one. And then I think I'll try and fly this one soon here. I already have, but it's been some fails, most part. I did put a little bit of tape under here. You guys can see the dirt, but this thing has taken quite a few hits since I gotten it, and it's held up just fine. Some of the glue joints are coming apart between the two pieces of the fuselage, but I bought some foam safe CA, so hopefully I can get that fixed. And then this Bixler III here, I think this one's the other complete one. It's got some custom landing gear, it looks like. Aluminum with some plywood under there glued to it. So I guess this one did have landing gear at one point. It came factory, but it got ripped off, so whoever put this on here just did away with what they had. And then there's the bay. Looks like it's got some good Velcro in there. And then here's the wing. So these ones ain't too bad. He just pretty much gave us these two for a very reasonable price. And then last but not least is this blue plane over here. Now this one is extremely lightweight. Like, you pick it up, you can barely even feel it. And he said that it actually got damaged when someone kicked it right here, and he had to fix it. It's that fragile, guys. I did not realize how fragile it was. The rudder is a little bit broke here, as well as right there. So I'm gonna have to cut the monocoat, or maybe even somehow try and fix it. It's also on the elevator right here, or not the elevator, but the aileron right here is damaged, so I have to fix that with glue. I guess I posted this plane on Reddit, and people say that it's a Stevens Aero model groove. Now, to me, it looks like it because everything matches. The Stevens Aero model groove has a 45-inch wingspan. This has a 45-inch wingspan. It's a low wing. That one was a low wing. It's got some pretty decent sized control surfaces. So, like I said, guys, if you know any information on these airplanes, please feel free to comment down below. This airplane does not have any servos, any ESC, or anything like that aside from a motor and a prop. It's just a bare bones stock, ready to pretty much put electronics in and then try and fly it. I'm sure I'll never fly this one in the wind, because if I do, it's just gonna either the wings are gonna fold in half, or it's just gonna go backwards and crash into something, and then I'll be out a pretty cool lightweight airplane. I'm really happy I got all these airplanes for what I did and when I did. But yeah, so that's a Stevens Aero model groove. That's a hopefully a Goldberg Piper Cub. Those two over there are Bixlers 2 and 3. And then this one is a 440, which I'm still very skeptical that that's the actual name of it, but like I said, if you guys have any info on this airplane, that's the wing to it, is that right there. So, yeah, if you guys have any information, feel free to comment down below. So, yeah. So I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. Just don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for more content. Yamasaki out. See y'all later. And on a side note, I'll be going back this weekend to get more planes. And I'll be traveling a good distance to get a RC Nitro helicopter. And those are going to be for videos in the future. So stay tuned.